The Magic Carousel by Anne Behan. Chuck Caparage had a dream, a cabinet maker. He was fascinated by wooden carousel horses. He researched their history and construction, then decided to carve one himself. In 1990, he received a set of carving tools for his birthday. As he worked, Chuck imagined building an entire carousel and giving it to the city of Missoula, Montana. Grateful for the successful life his immigrant ancestors had created in America, Chuck believed the gift would be a fitting way to repay that debt. Carousels are large and expensive, and no hand carved carousel had been built in the United States for more than 50 years. But this didn't stop Chuck. As he carved, he boldly imagined his carousel sitting in Missoula's riverfront park. When he'd finished 4 wooden ponies, Chuck put one in the back of his truck and went to see the mayor. He dragged the horse into the mayor's office. "This is how naive I was," he said later. "I said, I want to build a carousel for Missoula. I don't want to get paid for it, but I want it to be preserved for the future, and I want this little spot on the riverfront." The mayor listened to Chuck's story. Then he asked him to tell it to Geoff Bandock, the city official who had approved the use of the riverfront land. No, Badenoch's head shook from side to side. No. But Chuck kept talking. His enthusiasm was contagious. Soon, Bandanoch's head began to nod yes. "He made me believe," Bandanoch said. "He made us all believe." News of the carousel men got round. Wood carvers offered to help Chuck make the ponies. The Caparchi's garage became headquarters for an army of volunteer carvers who worked 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. 4 nights a week. Quality was priority with Chuck. It took 800 hours to carve sand and paint one pony. "We are not going to rush," he told his workers, ever. As the ponies were completed, they went on display around the community. "The horses were our best ambassadors," said Chuck. "They made everyone believe." But the carousel needed a building, a frame and platform, and an organ. Volunteers began raising money. They became as important as artisans. The first money-making idea was the Adopt a Pony campaign. An individual family, business, or organization could adopt a pony for $2,500, earning the right to design and name the horse. School teachers dreamed up the Pennies for Ponies campaign. Classrooms collected 942,794 pennies, or nearly $10,000, enough to adopt 4 ponies. The 4 classrooms that collected the most pennies won the right to adopt a pony. Chuck and carousel artist John Thompson helped the children design their horses. Sir Franklin, Snapples, Meriwether, and Moonlight were designed by the kids. Several pennies were hidden in the design of each penny pony as a reminder that each one was paid for, one chore at a time. Sometimes Chuck had doubts. In the middle of the night, he'd worry. "We can't do this. There are too many problems." But the project continued. The city assigned the west end of its riverside park, Chuck's little spot on the riverfront, as the site for the carousel. In 1991, a trip led Chuck to an old carousel frame. It lay behind a rural museum. It was bent, rusted, and covered in snow. 4 years later, Chuck and a volunteer crew had restored it to superb condition. An organ was built especially for Missoula's carousel. It had 400 pipes duplicate its 400 pipes duplicate the sounds of 23 instruments and 45 musicians. Finally, in May 1995, everything was done. The site, building, carousel, and organ were ready. 38 ponies and 2 chariots awaited the riders. After a jubilant parade, the carousel opened. Riders experienced the joy of being young, if not in years, then surely at heart. Chuck Caparich and his neighbors knew that magic can come from dreaming and working together. Missoula's carousel will work its magic for years to come. Question 1. In paragraph 9, what does "his enthusiasm was contagious" mean? A. Chuck's enthusiasm made other people enthusiastic too. B. Chuck's enthusiasm caused other people to lose interest. C. Chuck's enthusiasm made other people afraid to go near him. D. Chuck's enthusiasm was the only reason the carousel was built. Number 2. Read this sentence from paragraph 12. The horses were our best ambassadors, said Chuck. What does this sentence mean? A. The horses were brought to visit different towns. B. The horses helped build support for the project. C. The horses were in charge of putting the carousel together. Or D. The horses were only part of the carousel people liked. Number 3. This passage is mainly about A. The 4 penny ponies. B. The time needed to build a carousel. C. Chuck Kaparich's carousel project. Or D. The best way to carve wooden horses. Number 4. Read this sentence from paragraph 11. Quality was a priority with Chuck. What does this sentence mean? A. Chuck was only able to make horses very slowly. B. Chuck cared about making money so that he could make better horses. C. Chuck wanted to finish the horses quickly so that the carousel would be ready. Or D. Chuck thought that making well-crafted horses was very important. Number 5. In paragraph 7, Chuck says that he was naive when he first suggested the idea of the carousel. He means that he A. did not yet understand the challenges of putting a carousel in the city. B. Did not know how to convince the mayor to let him build a carousel. C. Did not have anyone help him carve the horses for the carousel. Or D. Did not know the right city official to talk to about building the carousel. Number 6. What would be the best new title for this passage? A. Working hard on carving horses. B. Chuck Kaparich's carousel dream. C. Sir Franklin, Snapples, Merryweather, and Moonlight. Or D. The city of Missoula.